The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. At that time, Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and afterwards he was hungry. The tempter approached and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become loaves of bread." He said in reply, "It is written, one does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes forth from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and made him stand on the parapet of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and with their hand they will support you, lest you dash your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "Again it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." Then the devil took him up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in their magnificence. And he said to him, "All these I shall give to you, if you will prostrate yourself and worship me." At this Jesus said to him, "Get away, Satan. It is written, the Lord your God shall you worship, and him alone shall you serve." Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Well, we're now in the beginning of the Lenten season, celebrating the first Sunday of Lent. Easter is just down the road, 6 weeks away. So we know we have this Lenten journey to walk with our Lord till we get to the glorious feast of his resurrection. It's interesting that most of us, I'm sure, are procrastinators. We like to procrastinate, to put things off. Whether it's we procrastinate doing our homework in school or writing a term paper, or we procrastinate in mowing the lawn, procrastinate in repairing the house, doing house repairs, we procrastinate answering or responding to a letter from a friend. We tend to put things off to the last minute. And sometimes things never get done even when we procrastinate. Well, this is the beginning of Lent. And it's easy to say, well, I'm going to do a lot of good things for Lent. I'm going to give up things, but more important, I'm going to do things in a positive way, to reach out to help others, to be good in my own lifestyle during the season of Lent. And it's easy to let the weeks go by, week after week, and before we know it, Palm Sunday is here and we haven't done anything. Easter's facing us a week away. We want to start today to make some good resolutions and to put some good examples into our own life, kind of daily prayer, in addition to our daily prayer life of some kind, almsgiving, not only in the form of money, but particularly doing things to help the poor, the needy, the downtrodden, by reaching out to them, to help in the various social agencies in the community, as well as our parish. There are so many ways we can reach out to people and to help others and to do things during this season of Lent. And so we want to try to get a good start now on it during this coming season. We see the readings today in Sacred Scripture. We start off in the book of Genesis, the story of Adam and Eve. How Eve was tempted. She gave in the temptation to eat of the forbidden fruit, gave it to Adam, and they were cast out of paradise. Sin and death came into the world. And then the second reading was about the example of the one good man, Christ, by his death and resurrection, everlasting life came back into the world for all of us to share. And we see in the Gospel today, our Lord, after being in the desert for 40 days, 40 nights, being tempted by the devil. He was God. He allowed himself to be tempted in his humanity. The first temptation was, first of all, he was hungry. He hadn't had anything to eat over 40 days. He was tempted, and he said that not by bread alone does man live. We all know that we have temptations not only for food, but for material things, whether it's material things like radios, televisions, electronic devices, greed, sexual things, automobiles, whatever it might be. We all have temptations of various kinds that come to our life. And then Jesus was tempted, but the sin of presumption. They said if he got up on the parapet of the temple to throw him off, that God would save him. And Jesus said you cannot make that presumption, that God is going to do that. In our own lives, we cannot presume that God is going to watch over us and take care of us in time of all temptations. God is there to help us, but we have to have the willpower and the strength to do our part in doing the best we can to be good, to have good, productive lives. And then we said the last temptation, the temptation to power and authority. He promised to give Jesus power over all the kingdoms of the world. And Jesus, of course, reminded him that it was not theirs to give, that his kingdom was not of this world to begin with, and therefore he didn't need that kind of power, just like we don't need that kind of power in our own lives. So we have to have a good picture of what our life is going to be like and our responsibilities as we go along with it. There was a young high school boy named Doug Alderson who graduated from high school down south some years ago. When he got out of high school, he had kind of a erratic high school life. He didn't study too much. He played around. He thought that there was no God. To him, life at that point was just eating, drinking, drugs, having a good time, being merry, and that was the whole purpose of life. So he was very confused. So he decided he had to straighten himself out. So he went on a hike. He hiked the Appalachian Trail from Georgia up to Mount Katahdin in Maine, which is over 2,000 miles long. It takes about 5 months to do that hike. It's very tiring and trying, but very nice to accomplish something like that. Well, he accomplished it, and it was difficult. He had to sleep out in the rain many nights, and it was a difficult, long journey. But he had a lot of time to think, as one would on a long trip like that. He said it really made a new man out of him. By the time he finished that hike up in Maine, he came home, he was a different person. He had a new outlook on God and the purpose of life, and his relationship to others, to his family, to other friends, and what he had to do to accomplish in life. He said even when he came home, he said even the dog looked at him and figured out, who's this new guy coming home? He didn't even recognize him. But we know that we have to look and try to do the best we can as we go through life to recognize the purpose of God in our own lives, and to have a good Lenten season. There's also the story of a priest who was working in the inner city, and it was at nighttime. He was walking down one of the streets in the inner city, and somebody came up to him from behind and grabbed him by the jacket and said, "Give me your money." And the priest turned around, and then the crook that was going to take the money recognized that it was a priest. He saw the collar. He said, "Oh, Father, I'm sorry." He said, I can't take your money." And the priest said, "Oh, fine." He said, "Well, listen, here, have a cigar on me," he said, And he gave him a cigar out of his pocket, and the would-be crook said, "Father, I can't take that cigar." He said, "I gave it up for Lent." So all of us have got little things we're going to give up for Lent, and have to put practices in our own life, not only giving up things, but also really adding things in our own lives as a way of doing something good and constructive. I mentioned in the Gospel on Ash Wednesday, almsgiving, prayer, and fasting. There's 3 good things that we can put into our life in a positive way. And now's the time to do it, to make it effective, not to wait until we get down to Palm Sunday, but to really make an impact in our lives by trying to implement in our lives right now all of these things in some fashion on a daily basis, to make this Lent really one where we bring about a transformation of our own lives from within, prepare ourselves to be spiritually prepared and ready to enjoy the Feast of Easter and our Lord's resurrection on Easter Sunday.